What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Paul, and over the past 4 months, I built out multiple lead acquisition systems for multiple different agencies. In today's video, I'm going to show you one of my favorite ways to web scrape local businesses and then import them into a database that you can then contact them either online or in person. If that sounds like a system that you want to build, you're in the right place. Let's get right into it. Okay, guys, so we're going to use two platforms to build out this automation. The first one is make.com, which will be our automation software, and the second is going to be Apify. So we're going to actually have two scenarios today in make.com. They're both very, very simple, but we're actually going to head over to Apify first. So Apify is essentially a marketplace of web scraping tools that a bunch of developers, just publish online for public use, and they're for the most part extremely cheap, and you get a lot of free credits to mess around with stuff, and you could actually get some clients for your business just for free. But essentially what we're going to do is scrape Google Maps. Okay, so you can actually see right here we have one. I believe this is actually the one we're going to use. But just go to apify.com and, sign up for free. They give you $5 to use, and that will actually get you a lot. You can see $6 for 1,000 results. So I'm just going to click try for free. Let me make sure this is the one that I want. Let me just search Google Maps. Let's see. I believe it's this, actually, Google Maps scraper. All right, so essentially we have search terms that we can put in, and then we have locations. So you could do this manually, and you can see there's only a few fields that we want to fill out. For me, the language is going to be English. We can put in the number of leads that we want to return, the location, and then obviously the actual search term for the type of, basically the keyword for Google Maps. So if we actually come over to JSON real quick, you can see that we have some parameters we can put in that, things like skipped closed places, scrape these different things, max questions, max images. We won't have to mess around with this too much, honestly. We're mainly going to be focusing on the search string and then the location and language query. Just go ahead and hard code this language to whatever you want. But essentially what we're going to do is just format this JSON, or change the variables in the JSON to whatever we need. So in my example, I'm going to be looking for bars in Nashville. If you're in the Nashville area, you'll know downtown has, no shortage of bars. So what's cool is instead of just having to run this manually from here every time, which is, somewhat automated already, you don't have to go over to Google Maps and get the results. You can just get these local locations already. But what we're going to do is just copy this JSON, okay? We're just going to copy it. And then you can see I have a new folder called Apify Demo. I'm just going to create the first scenario by clicking Create a New Scenario. And then I'm going to search for Apify. And the module that we want is Run an Actor. And I'm going to hook up my new account. To do that, just open Apify in a new tab. And then come down to Settings. And then go to API, and then let me just delete this one, and then delete this one, and then I'm gonna create a new token, and I'm gonna call this Apify Demo. I'll go ahead and create it, and then we can just copy this API key, and then come back into our scenario, paste this in, call this Demo. I'll click on Save. And we're actually good to go. So from here, I can actually go ahead and select our scraper. So you can just run this once with one, search result, and then it'll populate inside here. You just come back here, do one, and then I'll just save and start. So I'm just going to go ahead and abort this, and you can see actor run was aborted. But what I'm going to do is just come back over into our scenario, refresh this, and then let me search for, here we go. Okay. So you can just click run and then abort, and it'll just populate inside of here now. So I'm just going to search for crawler. It's going to be the Google Maps, scraper. Sorry about that. Google Maps scraper. And now we have it inside of make.com. So you can see here that we have this input JSON, and what we actually want to put inside of here is just this JSON. Okay. I'll show you how to set this up with your actual search terms. But if you just go ahead and like paste this in normally, you don't want to do that. And again, if you do Control-Shift-V, it doesn't paste with formatting, which like it'll still work, but it's hard to mess around with stuff. So let's just go ahead and click Control-Shift-V or V, sorry, Control-Shift-V. I believe that's Command-Shift-V on Mac, but now it's posted with formatting, so it's much easier to mess around with. Okay, so here we have a couple of different parameters. You don't have to mess with this other stuff if you don't want to. The main ones I'm going to be focusing on, you just want to go ahead and hard code your language. So for me, that's English. We want to focus on the location query as well as the search string. So for this, like I said, I'm going to be scraping bars in Nashville. So I'm just going to change this restaurant to bars. And then for the location, I'm going to type in Nashville, comma, TN. And this is just going to pull Nashville bars from Google Maps and give me a bunch of info about them. So we also have this other thing at the top. You're actually good to go with this input JSON. The only other thing you would want to change is the max crawled places per search. So I'm going to change this to 10 so that we just get 10 back, okay, instead of 1. So this is going to scrape 10 different bars in Nashville, but or things similar to bars. But essentially we have this run synchronously, and we would only use this if we were for sure like the actor is going to be done within 5 minutes. Like if we know that 100% positive. This is not necessarily what we want to do. So instead we're going to have another scenario that essentially triggers after this is done running, and then it'll pull back all the data. So Make will wait until the actor is finished, but beware that the maximum timeout for the run is 5 minutes. So we don't want to use this in our use case because this may take longer than 5 minutes, and you can scrape, tens of thousands of leads. And if you were doing that, you would not want to use this. So I'm just going to leave this off, and I'm going to come back into here. I'm going to create another scenario. And what I'm going to do in here is search for Apify, and it's going to be the watch actor runs. I'm going to just create a webhook. I'll name this demo. Just select your connection again. And then for the actor, I'm just going to grab, what is this one called? Google Maps Scraper. So I'm just going to type Google. It's this one, Google Maps Scraper Compass/crawler. And this is good. So essentially what this is going to do is it's not just going to trigger as soon as we launch it. It's going to trigger when it's done. So I'm just going to run this once, and then I'm going to click OK inside of here because my JSON's good. If I go ahead and run this once, this is going to be successful. And if I come back over to here, you can see we're using memory. I'm just going to go to actors, and you can see that we are running an actor. And if I go to runs, you can see it's starting our crawler. And this doesn't cost very much. I believe it's $6 for 1,000 leads, and we only put 20 in. So this is going to be no issue on the free plan. They give you $5 a month. And that's just like, you don't even have to put a credit card in. So you're good to go. But essentially I'm just going to let this run. If I come over to the second scenario, which was our webhook one, remember we set up the watch actor runs, you can see that it's successfully triggered. And let's see. So we have status message. Scraping is finished. You can view all scraped things or scraped places on a laid out map. So just to show you guys real quick, let's actually go to there. So if I paste this in here, okay, this is actually super cool. What the heck? Like this, man. Okay, so yo, this is sick. Okay, I didn't actually know you could do this. So we have our highlighted restaurants or bars that we extracted from the search. So can I click on these? Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, Nashville Airport. Okay, cool. Sweet. Cool. Okay, so we have these locations all in Nashville. You can see if I zoom out, they're all in Nashville and we're good to go. They are all on planet Earth. So we can see that the webhook is also working, which is great. Status succeeded. So if I come down to what we need to do is, let me see, we need to grab this default dataset ID and actually extract the info that because like this webhook doesn't actually return like anything about the leads. It just like basically confirms that it's done, and this can fire off a scenario really good. So the only info we need from this is the default dataset ID. So I'm just going to search for data, or Apify first, Apify, and then it's going to be dataset items. Okay, so get dataset items, and we will use this same connection. So if the default dataset ID, we can actually map this in to, where is it? Default dataset, bro, I can never find this. Default dataset ID. It's here under options. Let me check. Bro, where is that? Okay, here it is under options. So we have default dataset ID. We just want to map this in. And essentially what this is going to do is it's just going to return back the info that we want. So that we don't have to run this again, what I'm going to do is go to the output from our webhook and actually copy this default dataset ID. So this dataset ID just has all the info from the run. So every time we run it, it's going to get a dataset ID. So I'm just going to run this module only, paste in our dataset ID. I don't know why it includes spaces. If I click on OK, you can see we have a bunch of different bundles that returned back. What's great about this is we can actually map this into something like a Google Sheet. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do. So we have things like their search page URL. We have their description. We should have their phone number down here somewhere. Let's see. Okay, some of these don't have a phone, but we can filter those out if we wanted to. But yeah, essentially we just have a bunch of these bars in Tennessee. So what we could do if we wanted to is there's actually another Apify scraper that pulls back info and emails from these Google Maps links. So you could actually just take all these and just scrape all those URLs. So that's another good idea. But in this example, we're just going to add all of these leads to a Google Sheet. So if I just go to sheets.new, this will create me a new Google Sheet automatically. And I'm going to call this Apify demo. Okay, and we want to put in a couple of headers. So got some ads on our JSON formatter. Let me just close this and then come over to here. So you can see when we get back a bundle, we have a couple different things. We have their search page URL. So I'll probably want to include that for scraping. We don't necessarily need their price. We'll include their address. We will include their website, their phone if it's available, and we will, yeah, that's probably it. It includes a lot more info if you need it. Freaking gas prices. This is cool. Review tags. Okay, so this is like all the info you could possibly want from a business. If you went to a business with all this info, you could create like the most customized offer to their, like whatever business it is. If it's bars in Nashville, then, you know, hit me up and we'll go together. But essentially, yeah, you could do some like hyper personalized in-person outreach or even cold calling to these people because you could get to know their business so well. Maybe I'll do a tutorial on cold calling, but essentially what we want to do is just add these leads to a spreadsheet. So I'm just going to select the account that this is on, and the spreadsheet ID is Apify demo. I'm going to select this. And we need to map a couple of headers. So I'm going to type in search page URL, search. Here, I'm just going to copy this. My A button is broken. I have to like spam the button to wake it up for some reason. It's really, really weird. If anyone knows why it does that, let me know in the comments. But yeah, bro, imagine if I played PC gaming, how like bad that would be. So we have search page URL. We're going to grab the title. That's good. We'll grab the description too in case you wanted to personalize this. Why do I keep copying the wrong thing? I'm a bit special. Title. We'll copy this over. Okay. We're gonna grab description. If you wanted the price, you could too. This is just an example, guys. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing, but it's just good to have these fields in here. We'll grab their address. Okay. Paste an address. We will grab their website and their phone, and we should be good to go. This is like actually so cool. I don't know if any of you guys have been like doing local business outreach, but like this is so good for local business outreach. You don't have to like manually go through like Google Maps, and the fact that this is free is like absolutely wild. So I'm just gonna come to this Google Sheets outer row, and I'm going to refresh this. So you can see our headers have popped up in make.com now that we put in the Google Sheet. So I'm going to start mapping these items that we get back from Apify into the Google Sheet. So for search page URL, which is the A column, what I'm going to do is just click inside of it and then go to Apify, get dataset item IDs, and click on search page URL. Same thing for title, just go down to the title. Description, just go down to description. Address, I'm just going to get their address. Website, I'm going to do website. And then phone, I'm going to grab their phone. So now we have all of this info, and this would honestly be enough. If we wanted to, we might even be able to like web scrape their menu and say like, hey, I really like the special for today. Like do something crazy. I don't know, something like that. But basically, this is all the info that we could possibly need for personalization. So if I just try this real quick, we're actually going to give this another run. But what this should do is it should just add all of our leads and nice formatting with their phone, website, address, description, title, and their URL. So I'm just going to go ahead and run this again. And then if I run this module only, this is going to fire off. I don't think I hard coded this or anything. This is just going to run our scraper again with similar headers. So I'll let this run. Okay, so you can see it's actively getting our leads. We have their, phone number. Sometimes we're not going to get a website. We have their location and their title. Okay, and you can see our webhook is successfully triggered, and it's just speed running all of these. It did it super fast. It got back our data set items, which is super great. And now what it's done is it's actually added each one of these leads. So if I go to updates, you can see it's actually updating our columns. So if I come into the spreadsheet, you can see that we have this nicely formatted. Okay, so one of these we didn't get a website. You could set up some filters for this, but the rest we did. This one we didn't actually get a phone, but it looks like the majority of these we either got a phone number or a website. Most of these we got a description. So firstly, I want to say I hope you all understand like the value in this, because if you were running this for a company, or you're like, say you're selling voice agents to restaurants, you could just find, people within a few miles of you and then just do some hyper personalized stuff for like 20 restaurants maybe. And as long as you have a car, like you're probably going to secure a client, which is just awesome. So that's honestly, how easy it is to actually land a client these days. If we wanted to, what we could do is also add an email finder, which is just essentially what it sounds like. It's an app that finds people's emails, and we would just find the like CEO of that company, and then we could use a program called Never Bounce, which would get an email verification. Okay. And then it would just make sure that lead is like super high quality. And if it's not, we can remove it from a Google Sheet. You can imagine how for 10 leads, this probably wouldn't be super applicable. But if you're scraping, 500, it really is, and it will really pay off. Guys, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please make sure to drop me a like and subscribe. You can also join my free community down in the description. It'll have the blueprints for everything in this video, all the scenarios that we built, as well as one-on-one support with my team that works with 7-figure businesses. If you are a business owner and want a lead acquisition system put in place, or an appointment scheduling system, just book a free consultation call down in the Calendly link in the description, and we'll see if we can help you. Besides that, everyone have a great day, and peace out.